Wolves of Wind Book 1, Feathers, Chapter 7, Wonder. Rain stood there, her mouth open wide. The other wolves around her seized attack and landed, staring at the untrustworthy white wolves. "They're ghosts! Retreat!" Grass screeched, running away into the forest. It was normal that he was so scared. He was a cowardice omega. A few other wolves retreated after him. Surprisingly, Silver, one of their strongest wolves, was following after him. The camp erupted into chaos as wolves ran around in a panic. "Stop!" roared the alpha. The remaining wolves screeched to a halt to look at the furious alpha. "I won't have this," he called, panting, clearly trying himself not to panic. They were just normal wolves using a light trick to scare us. "But the sky split open. Isn't that what the wolves did when the Skypacks got wings?" Rain wasn't sure who called from the crowd, but she could have sworn it was Forest. "Yeah, it happened before, so why not again?" Dusty called, stepping forwards. "The ghosts used all their magic to stop the fighting and imprison us in this crater. They died while making it, and I simply refuse to believe that ghosts would come down from the stars just to harm our own business," the alpha said, with eyes particularly scared for someone who didn't believe. A few of the wolves looked doubtful, but they clearly knew better than to question Alpha about this matter, so they began to swiftly say their goodbyes to Bold before covering him in a blanket of dirt. Rain couldn't help notice that her father and brother were buried next to each other. That night she dreamed of two mud-cloaked wolves with gleaming red eyes staring down at her, their teeth stained blood red from their last kill. It sickened her that the wolves had killed her brother and her father. Whoever the wolves were clearly wanted her family dead. She was awoken by a large bark and her head shot up as her eyes adjusted to the sunrise light. She was able to make out her mother and Grass talking to each other. "Never!" Forrest snarled, walking away from the stunned golden male. Forrest realized that Rain was awake and stalked over to her, shaking off whatever trouble she was having with Grass. "You're awake," she said happily. Yeah, what was going on with you and Grass?" Rain asked, standing up. "Nothing, dear. He was just being a little disrespectful of Bold, that's all." Now Rain was really interested. But before she could ask any more questions, Pine howled to call a clan meeting. Rain rushed out of the den, realizing what this meeting must be even before the alpha said. "As many of you know, Rain's mentor Bold was killed last night, so we must pick her a new mentor. Any wolves that are not currently mentors and are older than 2 years, please step forwards and say your names if you would like to take this apprentice as your own." Silver, Grass, and Tawny all stepped forwards, all of them wearing different expressions. Silver looked timid among the older wolves. Tawny looked enthusiastic about possibly getting her first apprentice, and Grass looked eager to be chosen for the second time, despite having to shake off the fight that he had had before. Alpha studied the 3 wolves closely, then he finally spoke. "Grass, you have been a mentor before, and this gives you much more experience for the partially trained apprentice. You will be the new mentor to Rain." Rain cautiously walked up to Grass and they touched noses. She ran back to the apprentices' lounge as quickly as possible. "We also have another problem to address," Alpha said as the wolves began clearing the area. "Since Ebony was the mentor of Dusty, this means that Dusty must be assigned a new mentor as well. There will be no vote, however, as I have already chosen a new mentor." Several wolves murmured as Rock stepped forwards. Rain knew that Rock was Ebony's older brother, so it made sense that he would be her mentor. But he was 12 years old. He would be retiring soon, so how could he care for an apprentice at such an old age? Rock touched his old wrinkled nose to Dusty's small black nose. Dusty didn't even flinch, and Rain felt her pelt grow hot about running away from her mentor. Eventually, Grass walked over to her with a stern look on his face. "Tomorrow we will train your night flying."